YouTube, what's going on, man? It's Father Dark. How's everybody's week been? So I'm recording this video on Easter Sunday, so I'll just go ahead and preface this video by saying Happy Easter to everybody if you celebrate that. If not, whatever. But if you're on Easter break or your Easter break is coming up, or you already had it this week, like my kids did, I hope you guys had a good one. Let me know in the comments how your spring break is going, all that kind of jazz. I like to hear from everybody. Make sure everybody's doing good. Now this video, the thumbnail, I said don't do this, and it's kind of hard to cover in a thumbnail and in a title everything that I'm trying to sit here and say, but Father Dark is my name, right? And if you're new to this channel, sometimes we make informational videos. A lot of times I like to, explain characters' origins and, tips and tricks on different things that I know personally about the things that I know. I only know so much. Everybody knows different things and stuff like that. But, the thing about me is that I'm a flex player, right? If I had to say who my actual main was, I'd say I'm mostly a Spider-Man main, but we already know the whole issue with Spider-Man. If you don't, look at my previous video in regards to how to counter Spider-Man. Even though I'm a Spider-Man main, I'm fully aware that there are tons of counters to Spider-Man and that he gets banned a lot, et cetera, et cetera. So, not even going to get into all of that. But the thing is that I started out the game as a healer, went on to Spider-Man, and I've just started dabbling in tanks. I mean, I played Penny and stuff, but I mean, like really dabbling in playing tanks regularly and stuff, just because there's not enough people that usually like to play tanks. And even the people that do, they really have no idea or awareness of what's going on around them. They're just kind of looking forward and clearing space. And some people think that's what you should be doing. But that's kind of one of the things that we're going to cover in this video. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with healers, then I'm going to go to DPS, and then I'm going to go to tanks because, I was working on getting Spider-Man Lord. I had been, because being a flex player is kind of hard to get players Lord because, that means you have to just kind of no-life that character for a period of time. So I took a few days and actually no-life Spider-Man, got him Lord, made a video and a short on that in regards to, how to counter him because I feel like as much, as I've just been trolling the backline and stuff, I felt like I should probably actually make a video explaining, how to counter him since people feel like he's such a nuisance and, the dive meta, which is also something that I'm going to talk about, especially when I talk about healers, right? But like I said, healers were what I played originally. And that's kind of how people feel in a hero shooter is that when you aren't as good at DPS or tank or whatever, you should be healing. But I'm just going to say this before I dig into people and, before I even get into that too, let me just say that, I'm fully aware that I'm not the best player, right? But what I am is someone who has been alive longer than the majority of my audience. My analytics says that like 85% of people that watch my content are, late teens to like mid 20s, right? So I've been playing video games longer than most of you have existed. So with that comes a certain sense of understanding and knowledge. Just imagine a 5-year-old walks up to you if you're 18 through 25 or whatever, and they try to tell you about video games. You're going to be like, what is this guy doing? I've been playing literally 4 times longer than they've existed. So, be kind of, just take that for what it is, right? And understand that with age comes a certain sense of understanding of strategy and stuff, right? So this is what I'm going to say to everybody as a preface. A book I'd recommend reading if you haven't read it is The Art of War by Sun Tzu. And one of the main reasons why is because basically the book is just a bunch of short stories and stuff, right? That kind of make an overall point about a bunch of different things. But one of the main things he talks about is knowing your enemy. And a lot of people, I'm pretty sure you've heard that saying in some variation because there's a lot of different variations of it. But why that's so important is, especially let's use Marvel Rivals as an example, right? The only way to really understand how to defeat characters in the game is by playing other characters. To think that you're going to make it through the game and make it through ranked and not be a burden to people when you only know how to play one character, I immediately sniff out one tricks. If I can tell that you're a one trick and that I can just switch to something else that I know and I can counter you and make your life miserable, why would I not do that? Right. And if you're having issues with a character, for example, people keep talking about the dive meta. They keep saying, oh, well, Iron Fist and Black Panther and Spider-Man. I have played all of these characters. I've played most of the healers. Actually, I've played all the healers. Jeff is probably the one that I've played the least. But even with Jeff, I've taken some time. I've played him. All the dive characters, all the ranged characters, all the in-between characters, all the tanks. I have played them all. I understand fully what their weaknesses are. And if you are struggling with a particular character, if you find that you're having a hard time with that character, go into quick play for a couple of days and play that character. You will begin to understand how his cooldowns work, what his abilities are, how many of those abilities he gets at a time, that kind of goes into cooldowns and stuff. All of that, right? And that's the whole thing with knowing your enemy. If Captain America is a problem for you, if he keeps just diving you and doing all this stuff, play a Captain America so you can understand how a Captain America thinks. If he keeps diving you, then play something that is an anti-dive healer, right? If you're a healer and you're in the back line and you're getting destroyed by him, play a Mantis, Luna, freeze him right as he's about to get away. Same thing with Venom. Venoms will usually drop in and they're going to sit there and just keep bothering you. And then they're going to pop their shield when they get low. And then right as they're about to die, they're going to try to swing away. Well, you know what? You could freeze him or sleep him right as he's about to get away and he can't do anything. And that's just one example of many different things that I'm about to get into, right? So, like I said, first thing I'm going to talk about is healers. As someone who has numerous different lords for different healers and stuff, something that I see a lot of people saying about healers is you need to stay in the back line. I feel like when there is a dive meta, or if you believe there's a dive meta, because I wouldn't necessarily say diving is meta. I think that it's only meta because a lot of people don't know how to deal with it, right? But let's say there is a dive meta, right? If there's a dive meta, don't you think that it would make more sense to not have a backline to begin with? To maybe be mixed in a little bit more with your teammates? How exactly are people supposed to help you when they're up in the front fighting and you're all the way in the back and you're getting dived by a Spider-Man? As a Spider-Man main, you know what my favorite thing to see is? Healers that are really far away from the rest of their team, that are in the back, just minding their business, heal botting. I love to see that. You know what that is for me? That's free elims right there. If I was playing Black Panther and you're just chilling in the back, free elims. Iron Fist, free elims all day long. You know what's hard to get off is when the healers are actually close to their tanks. And when I go to attack them, they mix themselves in with the tanks and with the other DPS because they immediately turn around and delete my goofy behind. There's certain things that I feel like people have just kind of like latched onto as ideas because other people, other content creators, other players, that's their style. And, they sit here and they say these things and they make these rules and they say, well, these are the rules. This is how it's supposed to be. If you're a healer, you're in the back. If you're DPS, you're in the middle, and the tanks have to be in the front, and it's separated like that, right? But I'm playing a match earlier and Spider-Man just keeps diving the healers. And I know there's not a Spider-Man on our team. So as soon as I hear, it's one of those things where once you've played so much Spider-Man, you immediately hear the web shots. I'm already doing the math in my head. Well, he's just used one of his webs, right? So that means that he only has, and I'm talking about the ones that he swings from, he only has 2 more. Oh, he just shot 2 of his shots. But he missed the first one or whatever. Now he only has 3 left, and he's got to hit those, right? So what do I do as the tank? Because I'm playing Thor at the time. I just started playing a little bit more Thor just because I feel like Thor is really good most of the time as long as he's not a solo tank. But, long story short, as soon as I hear that, I push in with them to help them. Now, the thing is that a lot of tanks are oblivious. So you have to think like not only your enemy, and being a healer is a hard job because what a lot of people don't understand, and a lot of people like to complain and sit back and say, oh, well, you're a healer, you're irrelevant, you're at the bottom of the pole. Let's just think about it like this, right? What are healers? They're the people that keep you alive. If you're playing against another team and you're both, everything's equal at first, right? It starts out, you start out in equal spawns and you meet in the middle, right? That's usually how that works. And you start fighting, the tanks are doing damage to each other, the DPS are doing damage to each other, and the healers are sitting there healing everybody. Once someone gets a pick on a healer, which is why it's so important for people to do things like dive and stuff like that and go in the back line and take out these healers, because as soon as you take out a healer, you've now pretty much won that engagement because that's half the healing they had originally. You don't even have to take out both of them. That's just half the healing they had. If the other team has both of their healers and you're both equally matched, and you're duking it out, who do you think is going to win that engagement? I mean, come on. Stuff like this is like common sense, right? So you have to as a healer, you have to think like your tanks and your DPS. What are they doing? Are they locked in fighting someone else? Okay, if you're getting dived, lead the divers into everyone else. If the people on your team have a one-track mind, because like I said, not everyone's like me. Not everyone has played numerous different characters and fully understands like how they all work and stuff like that, and can think for multiple people at a time. See, I'm used to doing that. I'm a parent. I'm used to having to think for my children. My children are smaller. I mean, they're not babies or anything, but they're still children. You know what I mean? Like small children. And I have to constantly think for them, think for myself. I have to think for my animals and stop them from doing particular things that they might be trying to do that they shouldn't be doing. Whatever the case is, right? So it's like that's something I'm used to. But the average person, they can barely think for themselves. So as a healer, a lot of times you have to pay attention to the whole entire field. You have to pay attention to your DPS, your tanks. You have to pay attention to what everybody else is doing. You got to pay attention to yourself and make sure that you don't get, straight up just demolished by Black Panther, Spider-Man, Iron Fist, whoever else is trying to dive you, Magic, whatever, right? But like I said, though, you need to be a little more aware and hiding in a corner somewhere and being afraid to push up. The reason why you have, I know it's called a healer, but really in this game, I feel like the best way, they've labeled it the best way, which is a strategist. And the reason it's called a strategist is because not only do you have the option to heal, you have the option to eliminate people. There's a reason for that. The developers knew exactly what they were doing. There's a reason you don't just heal people and that's it. And that's the only option you have. Sorry, my wife called me. I had to take that for a second. Nonetheless, though, the point that I was making, or I believe I was making, because I've been on the phone for the last 5 minutes, so forgive me, is that you have the option to do both. So this heal botting thing that I'm seeing a lot of healers do, you guys got to stop that. You got to think about this, right? You can heal as much as you want. You know how many games I've won where, as the healer, I had just as much healing as the enemy team, but I also had twice the amount of eliminations or 3 times the amount of eliminations they had? That starts to add up. If you're healing, but you're also doing damage as well, for instance, if you're a cloak and dagger, you need to be blinding people all the time. It gives you an increased damage buff, plus they're blind. They don't know what's going on. They're panicking for like the 5 or 6 seconds that it lasts or whatever the case is. If you're playing Luna, you need to be freezing people. When you see people are weak and people got them one shot and they're about to get away, freeze them. Don't just sit there in the back and hide and be afraid. Oh, I'm just gonna sit here and just keep healing over and over again and just hope that does anything. Because think about it like this. Just always think about this. What if the enemy healers are healing and getting eliminations? Crazy concept, I know, but it's possible, right? And that's just kind of my whole thing with healers. And like I said, I can say this as a healer that regularly is MVP, which is kind of crazy to me. Like, why I'm ever even MVP is absolutely insane to me, but it happens more often than I can even remember or count, right? You guys are more than welcome to look at my stats on Cloak and Dagger or Invisible Woman. I'm Lord on both. I don't mess around, right? Like if your teammates are fully healed and they're sitting there fighting, don't just keep healing. Transfer over to the damage part. Once they get a little bit low, like I'd say like they lose like a third of their health, then you can go back to healing. But most healers have a way to heal while simultaneously doing damage. Like for example, Invisible Woman has her shield, right? You put a shield up in front of somebody, let them regenerate that little bit of health they have while you're still sitting there throwing out your little pulse or whatever and pulling them in when they get weak or pushing them away when they get too close and they're, your teammates are weak or whatever the case may be, right? Cloak and Dagger. Switch over to Cloak and Dagger real quick. Blind them. Put a little bit of damage on them. Put that pressure on them. And before you do that, put the bubble on the tank and whoever else is up on the front line eating most of the damage. Whatever. There are so many different solutions that you have, but just sitting there holding, whether you're on controller or mouse, whatever, but your primary click to just sit there and heal, that's not, you're not doing enough. You could be doing more, okay? Also, too, another thing I just want to add in, too. If you see your tank pushing up and he's sitting here getting eliminations and he's pushing the enemy back, push up with him. Stop being afraid. Like just push up with them. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? Like, why are you sitting back 8 miles away, afraid of like, if I get eliminated in the game, it might happen in real life. It's a video game, all right? Like, you're gonna come back, worst case scenario. But like, still, and obviously there's situations where that's not the smart thing to do. But read the room, read the field, what's going on, look at it, yada yada. All right, moving on. DPS. What's up with all these Spider-Men that are absolutely terrible? That are like just refuse to play anything other than Spider-Man. The Wandas that are going like 4 and 13 and refusing to put the ego aside. If you are getting diffed super hard, it's okay. I guarantee you no one is going to judge you because you had to switch from the character that you like using to use something else. If you're playing Spider-Man and they pull out Namor, Loki, anything else that's like literally made to counter Spider-Man, which I've lost count of how many different things. I made a whole video talking about it, and I only included a handful. Then I made another short talking about it, and I included a whole bunch of other people, and I'm still thinking of people. I mean, Reed Richards, this man literally just gets freebies on Spider-Man now. Like, I don't know what they did to him. If they buffed him or he's just always been good, people weren't using him. I don't know, but I'm not bad at all at Spider-Man. And this dude diffs me every single time that I see him, right? So if you are going negative as DPS, learn how to play a healer or maybe switch to a different DPS. Like, if your DPS is doing twice as much damage than you in eliminations and he's healing people and you still can't seem to get it together, maybe switch. There's no shame in that. And another thing, too, with DPS, you guys do realize that healers cannot physically heal you through walls, right? If you're someone who loves to just, I'm going to flank because then they won't be looking at me and then I can just get free eliminations. You do realize when you ping the healing button that if there's a whole building or mountain in between you and the healers, that they cannot physically, that's not how heals work. It's not just like a button that you press that just Adam Warlock's the heals. Even with Adam Warlock, he needs a line of sight. He can't heal you through stuff. Like, what is it with that? I see Bucky's and Psylocke's and Wanda's and stuff going to the complete other side of the map, pinging the I need heals button. What do you think? Do we have a built-in teleportation button and an insta fully heal you every single time you get absolutely demolished? Like, that's not how that works. If you want to be healed, stay close to the team. That's how that works. If you're going to flank, you need to be someone who's a flanker that can actually get to health packs when you get weak, like a Spider-Man or something like that, or a Psylocke that has some way to like go invisible and get away or whatever the case may be. Have a plan when you flank. Don't just flank and go, well, I just hope a healer just magically appears next to me. That's not how that works, okay? What are we doing? Tanks. Now we're getting on to you. Tanks. There's stuff happening in the back line. It's happening. More than likely, if you're wondering where your heals are, they're probably dead. Pay attention to them. That's all you got to do. But just pay attention to them. They may not be pinging or saying anything because they're busy fighting for their actual life by a Spider-Man, a Black Panther, whatever the case may be. If you notice that these people are on the enemy team, they don't want to deal with you. You are a tank. People tend to want to save you for last unless they're just absolutely terrible and they're just going to sit there across the room from you and just keep spamming their attacks or whatever and just hoping that you magically go down. No, any person that even has a tiny scotch of a brain is going to go, let me go to the back line and take out the healers. The healers are literally the first thing that any good DPS is thinking about. It's just what it is. So facing forward 24/7 and never paying your healers any attention, it's just counterproductive. Turn around every now and again. It's okay. Just turn around and look. Just use your eyes and look and see, hey, are my healers getting absolutely just ran down on? Probably, more than likely. Because I've yet to play a match that didn't have some type of dive on it. Some type of Black Panther, some type of Iron Fist, some type of Spider-Man. Like I said, I'm still low rank right now because I haven't, played rank. I mostly was just playing the Krakoa 24/7 map and some quick play to, get some different characters, lore and stuff that I had that were close that I wanted to work on. And, just a couple days ago, jump back into rank. And these are just some of the things that I'm just noticing. And I've been seeing a lot of it online where people are just complaining. They're saying, oh, well, I was Diamond or I was Grandmaster last season and blah, blah. And this season, I can't seem to get out of bronze or I'm hard stuck in silver and all this other stuff. And, I have to be honest, if any of you, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you are the people that I'm getting on my team or teams, you don't know any other characters. You got people who load in and they fight over Psylocke or they fight over playing Magic or these Spider-Man. It's like 3 people want to be Spider-Man or 3 people want to be Emma. Learn different, play different characters, even if it's not so much to counter, to understand what someone else is going through. If you're somebody that's like, well, I don't really play a healer, try it. Try playing the healer so you can understand what healers have to deal with. So you can understand that's actually probably one of the most demanding things in the game because you're by yourself. No one's going to save you when you're a healer. That's just what it is. I'm trying to get people to think like that because, I understand a lot of you are going to hear this and you're going to sit back and be like, well, let me nitpick his gameplay instead of hearing what he actually had to say. And that's fine. I don't really give a shit, to be honest with you. You're just feeding the algorithm with my video. I don't really care about that. But what I'm hoping is that maybe, just maybe, 2 or 3 of you hear what I'm saying and actually take it in, put the ego aside and go, you know what? Yeah, he was crashing out, and I can excuse all that, but I'm actually going to listen to the point that he's making, which is, be more aware. The overall point is be more aware. If you're a healer, be aware what your tank is doing. If your tank is pushing forward and he's sitting here doing all this stuff, or let's say you got a Bucky that's going absolutely insane, don't sit here and just keep healing the tank. If the Bucky is the one that's dropped 18 and the tank is 3 and 10, sorry, man. You have to figure it out. Sorry, I gotta go with where the motion is right now, and you ain't it. If you got a Thor on your team or a thing, and he's sitting here running around just eliminating everybody, he's got the whole team hiding in their spawn and stuff like that. Push up with him. If you're a DPS and you know you're trash at the game, stop playing DPS, man. Become a healer and actually heal people. If you're a tank, pay attention to the rest of the team. Don't just be sitting up there just going tank crazy. Then you're like, wait a second, I'm not getting healed, but this enemy tank is getting healed. You know why enemy tank is getting healed and you're not getting healed? Probably because Black Panther, Spider-Man, and Iron Fist just absolutely ran through your whole entire back line. That's another thing. Let's get rid of this whole backline thing. Why don't we just all stick together and fight as a team and push together? I mean, I get that the healers are going to be somewhat in the back, but you get what I'm saying here. I'm talking about like when there's like a football field distance in between them because the healers are so scared to push up. But then they're like, yo, I'm getting dived. I need help. Iron Fist and Spider-Man are back here demolishing us. Okay, well, who's supposed to help you? What do you... Once again, there's no teleportation button in the game. You got some people that got a little bit of movement, but as far as like an instant just I'm there on you to help you, no. You know how you get help? When people are closer to each other. So there's, that's my little rant. You guys know how it is sometimes. Sometimes I upload these videos and it's just some gameplay and it's just me crashing out for 10, 15, 20 minutes or whatever, But nonetheless, though, it's all love. And like I said, I hope that just because thousands of people watch my videos, right, regularly. And I don't expect 1,000 people to hear this and be like, you know what? I'm going to take all that in and change my ways, right? If even just a handful of you hear this and actually go, you know what? Man made some valid points. Let me try to apply this to my gameplay, and I might work together better as a team, because that's the thing is that everybody has to do their part. I don't care how good you are. I'm so tired of this narrative, the whole, oh, well, I'm so good, I'm just going to carry my team. I've seen it with my own eyes because today, which was a Saturday, I mean, now it's Sunday when I'm recording the video, but, I've been playing most of Saturday, and then I took a little bit of a break. I went to sleep for a while, woke up early this morning, was playing some more. But yesterday when I jumped on, there was a Star-Lord. He was on a team, and, I was in loser's queue early in the morning. I don't know what was going on, but they were giving me people whole entire teams. I was MVP as a healer with like 4 eliminations, and no one else on the team had any eliminations. And the Star-Lord, he's like laughing in the chat. He's like, "Oh man, you guys are getting ran on, blah blah blah." And I'm just kind of like, okay, whatever. And funny, very next match, he was on my team, but I'm still in loser's queue for some reason. And I'm getting teammates that have literally never played a video game in their life or touched a controller or a keyboard and mouse ever. It's like their first time, just waking up into society and ever playing a video game. And for some reason, I got put in a lobby with them, and. Yeah, we got ran down on. Me and the Star-Lord were the only ones we were like tied. I think we both had like 10 eliminations or something like that. As I think I was tank, he was DPS. Nonetheless, though, the point I'm making is that it's funny when the rabbit's got the gun. You know what I mean? Like when you're sitting here and you get loaded in and matchmaking blesses you, and you get teammates that actually have some basic level of IQ, gaming IQ. I mean, it's fun in games, right? Everything's fun. And it feels like, oh, well, it's just, I'm just so good that I'm carrying my team. No, that's not the case. I don't care how good somebody is. If you get put in with literal bots, you cannot do it by yourself. I don't care how good of a tank you are. If you have no one that is healing you because they're too afraid to come around the corner, because they're just like, oh, somebody might actually shoot at me or do something to me. You know, don't matter what you're going to get absolutely destroyed. You can be the best healer in the world. If the people you are healing are doing absolutely no damage, they're missing every shot, they're just holding down a button and just praying that eventually something happens, you're going to get destroyed. There's just nothing you can do. If you're a DPS and your tanks aren't doing anything, your healers aren't doing anything, but the enemy team has good tanks, good DPS, good healers, you're going to get destroyed. So this whole narrative of like, oh yeah, you can just carry your team. You can do, if you're just so good, that is an absolute load of BS. Every single content creator, I watch them. I don't really watch like TV. There's a handful of shows, like, main shows like Daredevil, The Last of Us, any other, Severance, like a handful of shows that I actually watch, right? The rest of the content that I consume is content about whatever it is I'm doing. So when I was playing Call of Duty, it was Call of Duty content. Now it's Marvel Rivals content. And you got these content creators. I'm not gonna say any names because I don't want any beef with anybody. It's not about that, right? I'm not here. You get the truth. You get the unbiased truth about it, right? Like if I'm wrong about something, I've admitted it before when I was wrong. I said Ultron wasn't coming. He came. I said, yeah, I made a whole video going, yeah, I apologize. That was me. I was wrong. I didn't have my facts together. Whatever. But the point I'm making is that there's a lot of creators that. And don't get it wrong. Let me just preface and say this. I'm all about positivity. Do I feel like that there is a lot that you can personally do to improve like in a match or turn the tide of a match or how there's certain mistakes that you can make that can ultimately cost your team, especially in ranked, right? Because it should be equally matched. Once you start getting up, when you're in lower tiers and stuff, you don't know who you're going to get because you might get people that actually are, deserve to be in that rank, whatever, right? But do I think that two things can be right at the same time? Should you try to teach people and make them better and give them advice and stuff like that? Yes, but at the same time, it is a bold-faced lie to tell somebody that they can just sit back and do everything and never lose. Now, are there people like I think his name is Wrecked or whatever the guy's name is. You guys tell me in the comments what his guy's name is. But there's like one or two content creators where like they'll purposely start a new account and they go from like 0 to 100 in regards to rank and stuff. They go from like bronze to GM, and they'll do it in like a speed run, like 3 or 4 hours or whatever the case is, right? Yes, those are what we call exceptions. There's exceptions to everything. Right? Like that's just how life works. There's one or two people out there that have these things about them where they can just, there's this particular thing that they're just so gifted at that they are in the exceptional category. That's why we have that word, exceptional, right? It means they're completely different from the majority of the human race. And everybody kind of has like something that they're really good at or that they understand really well, whatever the case is. But to tell the everyday average gamer or just average person, and when I say average, I just mean like you're not exceptional. You can still be really good, but you're just not like super exceptional. That they're going to be able to load into a match with actual bots. I mean, people that you have to sometimes go into the chat and say, are you real? Because how did you like not do that? I had a Luna earlier who was having a hard time healing me while I was standing still. I literally flew over to her, stood right in front of her face, and she missed the first 5 or 6 heals. She shot all around me, like that scene in Pulp Fiction where old buddy tried to like fire off on Samuel Jackson and whatever the other dude's name was, and he literally shot all around him. It was literally like that, right? Makes me wonder. It's like are these not bots that are just programmed to make me lose? Because I don't understand how you can miss someone that's standing 3 feet away from you. Point blank. You have to try to do that. That took effort. It would have taken less effort to just stop aiming, just look directly at me and just fire the heals at me and then be done with it, right? Point I'm making is that I said all that to say it's a bold-faced lie to just sit here and say in a team-based game that you can do everything by yourself. Where else does that apply it? Name me one basketball team where the players do absolutely nothing. They don't block anything. They don't make any other shots. And it's really just LeBron out here just doing everything by himself. Not true. LeBron has teammates, and his teammates have to have a certain caliber of skill. And if they start messing up, what do you think happens in the locker room? He probably goes off on them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know for sure, but I'm just assuming, right? Like that's more likely what happens. He's like, yo, man, I need you to pull together. Time to lock in. Let's do this, right? Same thing with a football game. You be the best quarterback in the world. If your defensive line ain't blocking the people and they're just standing there letting them run through, you're gonna get tackled. You can be the best quarterback in the world, but if your receiver can't catch worth a damn, what do you think's gonna happen? Yeah, you could theoretically run the ball every single time, but that ain't gonna work. Eventually, they're just gonna not let that happen anymore. And vice versa. You can be the best receiver on the planet, but if the quarterback has no idea how to throw the ball to you, what good does it do? You imagine somebody being like, yo, man, I'm the receiver and I carried the whole game by myself, man. You know what I'm saying? No, I didn't need the quarterback to ever throw the ball to me. I didn't need the defensive line to stop the dudes from tackling me or whatever, right? No, that's a load of BS. That literally defeats the whole point of it being a team-based game. There are games that are not team-based games. Just like there are things that are not team-based sports. Golf is not a team-based thing. Tiger Woods can say he carried whatever game that he played on because he was the only one playing it. And you got exceptions like wrestling where, yeah, you have an individual match that you're going up against, but overall, it's your team's collective amount of points, right? And I'm just rambling at this point, just because it is what it is. But nonetheless, though, that was my little rant. I think I'm done. We're coming up on the 30-minute, or we've surpassed the 30-minute mark. So, I just kind of wanted to go on a rant about ranked and, the people that. And the thing is like, if you're someone who's in higher tiers, clearly this. I get so many comments. People be like, "Yeah, I'm in diamond, and this doesn't apply to me." Bro, no shit, man. Like, come on. Of course it doesn't apply to you. Like, what we're talking about, and even still, I mean, there are still, I see it all the time on Twitter. People complaining. They're like, man, it's the same situation when you get up into, Diamond, Grandmaster, whatever. People are still doing it. And then, like, almost like the egos get worse, whatever. But I'm just simply saying, when I make videos like this is clearly for, like, because you have to understand, the majority of players don't even get past gold. Like, when you look at the rank distribution for the players and stuff at the end of the season or whenever they release them or just in general, the majority of people do not get out of gold. That is like 90% of the player base. And a lot of people don't even play ranked. A lot of people think that this is some hero simulator, like you're playing Spider-Man or something on PlayStation. I had a guy in comments earlier, I mean, I appreciate you and everything, and it's no shade on you. It's just something I find interesting. He's like, man, it's a shame that I have to learn some other character to counter a character that sucks the fun out of the game. He's talking about Spider-Man. Bro, Spider-Man's a high skilled ceiling, player. I mean, or character. It's the average. You're not gonna just pick up. My wife plays Marvel Rivals from time to time. She plays Wanda. You know why? Because Wanda is a super easy character to pick up. If I tried to give her Spider-Man, she'd have no idea what she was doing. Now, could she take months to sit here and practice with him and get good with him, or weeks if she's really, really into it or whatever? Maybe. But the average player is not just picking up Spider-Man. I would love to see how many people actually like play Spider-Man, like, or have touched him, or I wish there was a way to see, like, they put a certain threshold of like hours in, like maybe let's say people that have played more than like 2 hours of Spider-Man or something like that. Not even, I would say even an hour. I feel like most people have never even touched him and have no idea how it works. They're just like, he's broken. He got me one time and it happened so quick I didn't even understand how it happened. Like, you think there's 37 heroes in the game and that you shouldn't have to learn any other ones besides the one that you like? Think about how silly that sounds when you say it out loud. But once again, I'm rambling. Forgive me. I apologize. Let me know in the comments. What are you guys dealing with? What's your thoughts on rank? How's your life going? Wife, kids, family, school, work, whatever. I love to hear from you guys. Love to hear your thoughts and opinions on stuff. And, like I said, if you're new to the channel, forgive me. If you made it this far in the video, you're goated. We love you. Appreciate your support here on the channel. All that good jazz. But, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get off and try to catch me a couple of hours of sleep before, I have to get up and do Easter stuff with the family. So, and once again, like I said, if you guys support Easter, hope you have a great one, happy one, all that stuff. If you're starting spring break this week or you had it last week, whatever, hope you had a good one. Hope you're going to have a good one, whichever one it is for you. Nonetheless, though. But yeah, this is Dark, and I'm out. I'll catch you guys on the next one.